of the National Institute of Mental Health here at NIH, and I'm here primarily to welcome you on behalf of NIMH and also our Office of Autism Research Coordination in celebration for the 5th Annual Autism Awareness Month special event. Our annual sponsored event is in celebration of the Autism Awareness Month, but we look at it as providing an opportunity to gather as a community to celebrate and recognize the contributions of those with autism or those who are on the spectrum, and also the needs. We also consider it an important opportunity to renew our commitment to provide supports and opportunities for those in need to help them succeed. NIMH and its sister institutes are strongly committed to supporting, stimulating, and directing research on autism. Through research, we aim to transform our understanding of the causes of autism, from genetics to biology to brain development. We also support research aimed at improving screening and diagnostic tools, and research that builds an evidence base for new and effective interventions and services for those on the autism spectrum. In addition to our research efforts, the NIMH provides leadership and management of the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee, or the IACC. The IACC is actually a federal advisory body that provides advice about autism to our Secretary of Health and Human Services. Susan Daniels is the director of our Office of Autism Research, and her office coordinates and manages the IACC as well as special events and projects like this one tonight. So I want to recognize Susan and her staff and thank them for their efforts in putting tonight together. And I'm going to turn it over to Susan so she can welcome our invited guests. Thanks.
Thank you, Shelley. Good evening. I'd like to extend a welcome from the Office of Autism Research Coordination here at NIMH to those who have joined us from all over the country on our remote webcast, as well as those of you who are here in the audience in person to see this event. We are extending a special welcome tonight to this evening's speakers, Ms. Hana Makki and Ms. Sharifa Yateem, who have come all the way from the United Arab Emirates to be with us tonight. I'd also like to recognize special guests Ms. Shema Gargash, the head of communications at the Embassy of the United Arab Emirates, and the Honorable Mike Lake, Minister of Parliament in Canada, and who is father of a son on the autism spectrum and a leading advocate for people on the autism spectrum in Canada. Finally, we also welcome several members of the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee who are in attendance tonight. For our special event, together we'll be viewing the documentary film, As One, the Autism Project, which was commissioned by Her Royal Highness Sheikha Shamsa bint Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates to raise awareness of autism in the UAE. It tells the story of 10 children and their families who were involved in an initiative called the Autism Project. It is a moving film. I had the pleasure of seeing this film last year at a screening event downtown in DC, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again here with all of you tonight. So following the screening of the film, we're going to have a discussion with our special guests from the UAE, Ms. Hana Makki and Ms. Sharifa Yateem. Hana Makki directed the film, and Ms. Sharifa Yateem is a therapist who worked with some of the families and children in this film. And we'll hear about their experiences in being involved in this very special project. For those of you who may be viewing this event remotely, you'll want to access the film via a link that is provided on the IACC website. And the password is AS1, capital A-S, capital O-N-E, and that will allow you to view the film in high definition. So you can go ahead and tune into the film through that link. And around 7:45 or so, we'll be done with the film here in the room, and then we'll turn to our discussion so you can tune back into the webcast at that time. And I'd also like to let you know that Image Nation, the company that's produced this film, has generously allowed our office to offer this link to the film for free to be on our website and available until August 2017. And so I'd encourage those of you who enjoy tonight's film to share it with others and to come to the website and check out all the information that we have about autism. So without further ado, I'd like to get us started on the film. So hope you enjoy.
about the whole show and your cues. And if you have any questions, please ask me now, because I will not be able to answer them later.
The project is amazing. I love the idea of getting kids and families together. 10 kids with different age groups. They've never met, and they all have the same background.
Okay, so are you guys ready for the show?
They all have autism and need to put a show in front of people. I cannot predict what's gonna happen. Just wait and see.
Where are your socks? Socks. We have to have socks. Come on. Go upstairs and get your socks. You better run as fast as you can. One shoe.
One shoe on the Asher.
He's way cooler than the other kid I know.
I got it. This is my flower.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
He loves to laugh. He gets this like face, like, you know, I don't know how to explain it. He's just awesome.
Where are you guys going?
We're going to the church.
What do you want to eat? You need to eat some food before we go.
What about eggs?
Asher was born without any incident. It was very smooth.
What is happening?
What? He looks great.
He looks homeless. Asher, what's going on?
No, that's mine.
He was a very different baby than our first baby.
We called him our Buddha baby. From day one, he would just sit there.
It looked like he was meditating. In that regard, it was a very easy baby. But as he got older and older, there were some concerns.
He would only drink milk and would scream all day. And we never knew what he wanted. He would say hi, but then it stopped. He seemed very unsettled, like something was missing, something was wrong. He wanted something, but he didn't know how to communicate, and I didn't know what to do. We took him to the doctor, and he started asking me these questions, like, does he walk on his tiptoes a lot? Yes. Does he point? No. Does he respond to his name? No, actually he doesn't.
She called me and said, well, I took Asher in, and they diagnosed him with autism. And I was shocked. I was just shocked. Spent hours and hours reading about what this meant. You take it to a different level when it's your own child. And so I really dug in and tried to learn about what it was that we were facing. The one thing that I just had a really hard time with was the idea that he would not be able to make meaningful human relationships, that he would be removed, kind of. And that's where you find joy in life. That's where you find meaning and purposes in your relationships.
My mom and dad, and my brother, and my sister are Christ. Amen.
Amen. Good job, Asher.
not all autistic kids are the same. One child might have a higher, communication skills and developed communication skills than the other.
Hi, Mohamed.
سلم عليها. Say hi, Mohamed.
Hi.
Anything that you think of that to do with social skills, they might or might not have difficulties in them. They do have difficulties initiating conversation or even keeping conversation.
What's the name of the mosque again? Masjid?
Masjid Sheikh Zayed.
Yeah.
Mosque again?
Masjid Sheikh Zayed.
Again, sorry.
Sorry.
Again, بابا غلطان.
أيوة مسجد الشيخ
زايد.
زايد.
Again, بابا غلطان.
أي.
بابا sorry.
Sorry.
Again, بابا غلطان.
بابا غلطان. Mohammed today has a huge wealth of vocabulary. His problem is in taking the initiative to strike a conversation with you or to answer your questions properly. There are about 82 domes, qubba, okay? And then you have these columns, Mohammed. There are about 1,000 of them in the mosque, okay? My hope is to enable him to communicate with people a little bit normally, to engage in a dialogue and day-to-day simple conversation with people. What are these? Flowers. Different colors, right? Can you tell me the colors, Mohammed? What are the colors here?
Green.
Green.
Blue.
Yeah, and these are pearls. See, Mohammed? When he was 18 months old, he didn't walk. He didn't talk. He did not say even a single word.
So if they stop socializing at any age, and a lot of families come to me and say, but he was speaking. He would say 1 or 2 words by 1 year, and then he lost it by 2 years. These are signs for autism.
Eventually, we took him to a psychologist. Immediately recognized Mohammed as a child with autism. شو الأوقات هذه؟ يمكن تقرأها لنا محمد؟ هذا الظهر أيوة. العصر. And then we found a therapist, and she taught him the basics of Arabic, and the alphabet in particular. So he came to recognize the sounds and the letters. All of a sudden, he fell in love with the Quran. He started listening to the Quran, and he started holding the book itself, reading the Quran, until he got completely familiar with the Arabic alphabet. نقرأ محمد? He is very fluent at reading in Arabic now.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
There he started memorizing the Quran. Today you ask him about any verse, any portion of the Quran, he can immediately tell you where that particular portion is.
وضعها للأنام.
Muhammad, when وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه. Can you show me what it is? جميل. أي سورة هذه؟
سورة الإسراء.
جميل. The excellent thing about this family is we never felt that Muhammad was a burden on us. I don't want Muhammad to be different. I want him as he is. I love him as he is. He's part of this family.
هلا يا دلال. كيف حالك؟ حبيبي تحب مستر بين؟
ايوه عارف.
All of us ready? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Let's start with Mina. Okay.
All right.
I am super excited and super nervous. But nerves is good because it means you care.
I want you to raise your hands if you've ever watched anything related to the circus on television. So a lot of you have. Okay, good.
The first day, first of all, it was madness.
It's gonna spin. So I'll demonstrate.
People didn't know each other. It was the first time it was happening.
Mohamed. What's your name? Mohamed.
It was very loud. And I think it's like the first time you meet anyone, you have to feel them out.
One circus skill that we always start with is balancing. Now, the secret to good balancing is to keep your eye on the eye. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're gonna put your eye on the eye and you're gonna keep this really strong. My main concern is figuring out what they want, what they love to do, so that then we can expand on that. And I think that every kid is going to require their own way of teaching.
If there's one word we can describe Carl, it's joy.
Carl is so friendly. He likes to meet people. He likes to be with people. Carl has a very courageous spirit in him. And I know he's strong.
At the same time, when he doesn't get what he wants, there are moments, a lot of them, where he gets frustrated.
Excuse me. This is for boys.
Excuse me.
When he wants to do something or wants to get something, then it's like a maelstrom going around the place.
Sometimes I don't know how to address the behavior that. And it's too much for me. It's so overwhelming.
Carl is pretty much the center of the family. Initially, I was worried that Gabriel will be jealous of our giving more attention to Carl. But thankfully, she coped with the challenges of handling Carl. And
What's it like being a big sister to Carl?
Lots of responsibilities.
Yeah. Like what?
Taking care of him. Helping him sometimes.
she understands. She's really a good sister to him.
Now Fathy will show us how Mr. Bean is walking. Give the intro, Mr. Bean. Huh? ممتاز.
These are 10 beautiful kids. They each had their own beauty.
Can you put your hand here? All together. Yay!
My goal for this next 3 months is for these kids to have a really, really fantastic experience.
Good starting, and we'll see you next Saturday.
But I want them to leave with a much stronger sense of confidence.
Okay, we'll see you next week.
Hello. 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 Hi. Yeah, hi. How are you? Welcome.
Great, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Me too.
What I'm thinking, the concept will be like a union, because the kids are coming from different schools, from different nationality, from, the best thing that to say, like, when we are together, we'll be strong, and this is the UAE, you are living here, and yes.
I didn't know much about autism at all. I'd heard it, and people used to joke with me that I wasn't very artistic, but that I was very autistic, because I was, able to learn a lot of music very quickly and stuff like this. There are all sorts of people you meet with similar kind of problems that wouldn't be diagnosed with autism.
Oh, double.
I'm not the kind of person that likes to label people, human beings, you know, apart from with that perhaps label, you know, we're all human.
It is a theater program with 10 children diagnosed with autism and 6 teachers that never done this before.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharifa and I studied applied behavior analysis. Autism is a pervasive developmental disorder. They have delays in not just one area, many areas. You guys are sitting in front of me, you look like you're attending to me, and I know I can read from your faces that you guys are interested in, and you know, you're shaking your head, that means, okay, they're understanding me. Such cues, kids with autism don't understand. Take into consideration the child first. Learning principles are the same, you just have to tweak it to make it more precise for a child with autism.
عمر ده ليك انت. هتشيل النضاره يا فتحي. ورينا عيونك الحلوه. Look at you. Okay. Let's make a circle, big circle. Come on, give me your hand. Car. Which color you like? Okay, Asher, which color you like it? Yellow.
Have you ever been on a stage? No. Has anyone been on a stage?
More. Yeah. Robert is our music director.
Hello.
Yeah? He's wow. Now we will listen to Robert and we will see what we will do with him.
Let's make up a song together.
I've had a wonderful life, actually, travelling the world, playing music with wonderful people, and now I thought it would be time to give back a bit.
My name is Fatih. Good voice. My name is Fatih. My name is Fatih.
So, Kindi, what's your name? What's your name? So, Kindi. My name is Kindi. My name is Kindi. Yeah? Yeah. Lovely. That's a good voice.
الكندي صريح مرح دائما بشوش وجهه بشوش ويضحك يبتسم لأنه يخلي يخلي الرحلة مثلا شيقة. في البيت الله أعطاني ملك في البيت اللي هو الكندي لأنها سيف طبعا جارنا قريب الفلل اللي بعدنا قريب عنا في نفس المدينة في مدينة خليفة، لكنه هو معاه في الفصل في المدرسة من 3 سنوات يمكن أو 4 سنوات، فطبعا هم بينهم صداقة يعني يتقابلون يوميا في المدرسة ويطلعون مع بعض في الباص.
It's amazing to see 2 individuals that are diagnosed with autism have learned to interact with each other and be best buddies.
هو يعني اجتماعي لكنه يعني أكثر اجتماعي مع الناس اللي أعرفهم.
Me first. I will run first, okay? Look, you have to all tell guys. First you run, say me, okay? You run fast.
Go for it.
حسيت سيف شخصية يعني يحب يترأس الشيء.
Saif is a very strong character, you know, and he's very masculine. It has to be like this and that, this.
Run faster, run.
And El Kindi is always listening to Saif.
First.
It's important for him to realize that it doesn't always work like that.
سيف في بدايته وايد يحب صديقه الكندي لدرجة أنه مثل ما قلت لك هو ماخذ وايد يعني الأمر أنه هو الأب وهو الأم وهو كل شيء يعني.
You have to eat it all because you're going to be big. Taking this, take it all. Out of it.
الصداقة هاي كبيرة جدا بينهم. الصداقة هاي أنا أحاول أنه يعني ما نميها بعد أنا كثير، لأن أريد أنا ما يتعود بس على سيف لوحده، يعني إذا تعود على سيف يعني شخص واحد.
حتى تسوي كذي بركبها. لا بركبها.
يلا.
هني.
اوكي خلاص شيء.
مرحبا. نعرفكم على بعض، طارق غوشه صاحبي وفتحي. When I first met Fethi, his energy was bigger than I thought it would be. He was very outgoing. He was very, he was ready to take it on. He didn't know what it was, but he was ready. فاليوم راح نبدأ ألعاب مختلفة. زين. طارق راح يبدأ يقلد أو كأنه مثلا يكنس أو ينظف أو يسوق سيارة ولا شيء. طارق. فشو مبين؟ شو قاعد يسوي طارق؟ يفرش أسنانه صح. فالحين أنا راح أسأله طارق شو بتسوي؟ بطبخ. هو ما يقدر يقول الحركة اللي هو فعلا قاعد يسويها، لازم يقول أي حركة ثانية وشو ما هو قال لازم أنا أسويها. When I first met him, I had different ideas. I said, okay, we're going to work on his ability to do accents or his ability to do act outs. Maybe do a little Mr. Bean, impression on stage or an act out. But I realized that he likes the physical comedy more. It's easier for him to get.
شو بتسوي؟
نايم.
بتسوق سيارة.
لا الحين هو قال لك نايم فأنت لازم تسوي اللي هو يقوله. بالضبط هو شو قال أنا نايم.
طارق شو بتسوي؟
نايم. شو بتسوي؟
نايم.
لا قول له أي شيء ثاني.
أي شيء ثاني.
لا أي شيء مختلف، يعني الحين أنت نايم مثلا تقول له أنا بلعب كرة.
أنا بلعب
مصارعة. طيب. It takes a little bit of time and maybe a demonstration for him to understand that this is what's happening. What we might think is, oh, it's simple. You just explain it once and they'll get it, is not necessarily the same process for him.
Comedy is a difficult topic. They must learn it as if you're learning how to say 1 + 1 = 2.
كيف حسيت يعني حسيت انك المرة الأولى أحلى مع طارق ولا المرة الثانية أحلى؟
أنت لا شو أنت ولا هو؟ ممكن هو أو
يعني استمتعت أكثر، ليش؟
شو أقول أنا كيف؟
Some kids with autism don't even know how to choose. If I told him, choose between the water and the mobile, he might grab both of them because he won't understand what I'm trying to tell him. You're asking him to choose, but he might not have that in the system.
Okay, I try to find a small and easy idea because also we have a very, very tight time. I found the idea, which is the colors. We will have like a narrator to say the story because some of the children cannot talk, and we want the audience to understand what we have and what the concept and what the story. There is someone will be like not clown, but he will be like a funny, or he will be like make like a light comedy. Fethi.
I just did a workshop with Fethi because I wanted to know what's going to work. We tried talking, and it's tough. And comedy is all about timing, right? It's all about timing. So I don't know how Fethi would work on coming in every single time comedically with words, making the audience laugh.
Even if you will say one word or one sentence, will be okay. We will try to fit it with him.
You're the director.
No.
I'll tell you my concern. I'll tell you my concern. Now, what we have prepared for the next session is just useless.
We have routines that we're working on that we've worked 3 weeks on. This is a little bit late in the game.
It is.
I can't switch it and say, okay, now you're a color. That's useless.
But I do think the idea of colours coming together,
Yeah.
I do love that idea of togetherness, and it gives some symbolic quality to it.
That went as you expected, right?
No, actually,
It's up to you.
It's up to you, exactly.
Let's talk about it when we finish. Okay. This your name? Hello. Where are we going? Group hug again. Come on. Group hug. Come on, Kindi. Come on. Kindi, come on. Group hug.
What is that?
Oh. He's coming. Okay, come on. Yay. Hello, Kindi. Where's your hand? Okay, let's start from the beginning. Come on, let's stay. We are the colors of the world. Yes, we are the colors of the world. Let's start with Kindi. Yeah.
What's this?
Routine is another social difficulties, and sometimes what can create anxiety if you do stop the routines.
كل سبت مثلا البرنامج هذا يكون كل سبت، فكل سبت هو يريد يشوف سيف موجود. إذا السبت جاء وسيف مش موجود، لأن سيف صديقه يعني معاه في المدرسة، فحيتضايق.
Kindi.
طبعا كل انسان يعني كل والد يعني يحب انه يكون ابنه احسن ابن، ويشوفه مثلا انه يكون دائما في اعلى المراتب، وهذه امنيه اي والد يعني لطفله. يتالم، انا اتالم كثير لما اشوفه في بدايه حياتي مثلا، بدايه مثلا هذا الاوتيزم وانه يعاني.
How about you and me gonna have some fun? You want that? Yeah? Do some dancing and some singing? Okay? Come.
They're happy.
They're happy.
I am.
You are happy too, right? Are you happy?
When I was with Kindi and he was missing his best friend, I felt really close to him because all he wanted to do was share the things he does with his best friend. And I was like, okay, well, let me be your best friend then for today. And he let me.
Abdullah is a city goose.
You're a goofy kid.
You're a goofy kid.
All right.
Let's
go.
Let's go.
Abdullah can just steal your heart away with like whatever you want to throw at him. And he's really, I think, going to be such a great energy on the stage because he just has so much presence and so much like love for life. You just see it there in his eyes.
I'm excited. What do you think of my pal thing?
Your what?
My pal thing that I'm talking and I repeat what you say. What do you think of my pal thing?
It makes me sad because I want to just have a conversation with you.
I'm just joking. Yeah.
As soon as I saw Abdullah, I was like, this kid's a comedian. He's funny. He has excellent timing and passion with his words. He's an entertainer naturally. So let's sit down. Can you look at me? Let's make eye contact.
Yeah.
Can you look me in the eyes? Don't lick my face. He didn't even realize how funny he was, and the best comedians don't try to be funny.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Come in.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to my party, Abdullah. Here, have cake.
What there isn't?
It's chocolate and vanilla.
Yum, yum, I love chocolate and vanilla. I want to eat it. This is the yuckiest, worst cake ever.
Other adult students that I have, there's always this barrier. There's always this barrier of self-consciousness. I don't want to look bad. Why do I have to do this? That didn't exist. It absolutely didn't exist. And honestly, it was like, I wish I had more of that.
Abdullah, what are you doing?
I am flying in an airplane.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm driving a car, a Ferrari, really fast.
Abdullah, what are you doing?
I am.
If you got bored or if something was difficult, if something was a little bit challenging, I want to talk about the iPhone.
I'm playing with my iPad.
Oh, hi, my name is Abdullah and I love iPads. What kind of Windows do you have? Windows 8, Windows 9, Windows 7, Windows 6, Windows 5, Windows 4, Windows 1.4, Windows Blue, Windows Green, Windows Yellow, Windows Red? No, but what kind of Microsoft do you have? Do you know the history of the iPad? And do you know that Steve Jobs is awesome? And do you know that my favorite color is green and my shoes match my iPad on purpose because he's definitely very high functioning. And if he was walking down the street with a group of kids, no one would know that he was autistic. He wants to have his own this, and this, and I have no doubt that this kid can do it.
All right. You did good today, Grace.
We're all gonna work for him one day.
Give me a high five. Ah.
My daughter asks me, who's your favourite? And I always tell her it's Nikhil. He's everybody's favourite. We call him our star. I always look forward to seeing him when I come home. He's always in a good mood and he really makes everybody happy.
We actually moved to Dubai when Nikhil was 3 months old. So basically, he's grown up in Dubai. He started to speak quite early.
After the age of 18 months or so, he stopped talking completely.
And that's when they told us that we think your child is autistic.
We both felt really hurt by hearing what we had to hear, but we were actually at the same time pleased to hear that there was actually an answer for it all.
So we got him doing as much therapy as we could afford.
Oh dear, Nikhil's not looking properly. Let's try again.
If somebody said to me, cut your arm off and give it to him and he'll talk and he'll be better, it'll be normal, I will do it.
Look, more crepes.
A year ago, he would just hold our hand and pull us to the kitchen and open the cupboard, so we would know what he'd wanted. The speech therapist said that we need to introduce this PEX folder and then he can actually open it and say what he wants, and there's a card on there saying, I want, and then he would take out the picture of what he wants and stick it on there, and then he would have to point to that and then give it to the therapist or give it to the mum or whoever's in the house.
Little, medium, and big.
Hopefully the talking will come from that sooner or later. So we're working in stages and we're moving forward.
Hi, did you get the song?
Yeah,
I wrote for
I
Hana
did. Yeah,
Makki? And do you think he'll be able to sing it?
I think he will.
Super, that's fantastic news. Great. Let's try this. I sing one line, then Mohamed sings one line, okay? So we start off.
He really is somebody that when you look into his eyes, he does seem in some kind of pain. I remember feeling the way he looks.
Start off. If I knock on your door. Try. If I knock on your door. Super.
The moment Mohamed first sang the song that I'd written for him was an incredible moment because he sang it so well and it really touched me.
Yes. If I sing you my song. Hey, good. Will you hear my voice? That's it.
Beautiful, Mohamed. Excellent.
Music and the arts is very powerful. It's massively helped me in life, you know, and solved problems for me. And without music and the arts, I think it would feel desolate. Music is what feelings sound like. And I think, therefore, for him, he has feelings, of course he does. And he understands the connection between expressing those feelings and singing. And he does it when he sings.
Excellent.
So then,
beautiful, Mohamed. Congratulations. I gotta say, this is awesome.
Every Eid we shall start our day here with their grandmother, my mother-in-law. It's traditional.
هذا عمي ممتاز بس بحب يمزح رقم واحد
فتحي يعني كله طاقة هيك ضوء بشع في حياتنا بتحسي إنه he give يعني happiness to our family.
مين أكثر واحد تحب في عمامك؟
عمو شريف.
وآخر واحد مين؟ يس.
كم 750 750 760 70 80 90 800 805
هاي 1000 صار عندك 1000 والله ابوي ما كان توحد يعني.
It is for kids. Yeah, we give them, all of them. We'll give. But what's happening? I give to my brother will give back to me. That's the same. Yani maybe at the end of the day, maybe you will win 100 dirham or you will lose 100 dirham.
أسير مصارع بوكسينج أو ريسلينج ريسلينج زي مصارع إن شاء الله فرجم عضلات شوف ولا برتقالة.
When he was young, he changed too much our life. It was too much sad. We have too much problems. If somebody is coming to our home, he cannot feel rest because Fathi all the time he will move. He will try to take his things. Sometimes he throw things from windows. When he was almost 6 years old, he tried to talk, but some words, not fluent. But he get fluent when he become on his 10 years old. He become fluent.
يعني بالنسبة لفتحي حالته معقولة، يعني ممكن أنا في الفترة المقبلة هو بعد 2 بخلص مركز، ممكن أرتب له شغل، ممكن يعني فتحي إنه يعتمد على.
وبعدين عنده أمنيات وعنده مستقبل، عنده طموح، بيحلم إنه يكمل الدراسة ويشتغل ويتزوج. عمر, he's a different story.
What you got?
He liked this one the most. When he was baby, they told me, no, don't worry, you can't get two autistic kids. People, they think that it was too much when you have two kids with autism. But no, it's okay. But he always complain about Omar. Why Omar, he's always shouting? Why Omar, he always angry? Why he's crying? Why? So we told him that he is sick, he is autistic. He said, okay, I understand. When he will get better.
طيب عمر ليش تزعل من عمر؟
يضرب الناس، هذا يخرب بيت توحد بيضرب الناس. عنيف، توحد عنيف. هاي مش توحد، هذا عنيف. واحد عنيف.
Does Fatih know that he has autism?
When he was young, he remembered that he cannot talk. He was too much hyperactivity. But he think now he's get normal.
فتحي بتتذكر كيف كنت لما كان عندك توحد؟
ايوه. الدراسي.
شو كان شعورك تجاه الناس اللي حواليك؟ شعورك تجاه نفسك؟
Omar, this is my problem. When I'm going to sleep every day, I'm thinking in the future, when he become big or old, how he can live without me.
How was Eid? How was Eid? It was good?
Yeah.
Did you eat a lot of food? Did you get bills? Did you get big dirhams?
300.
300?
And now you know how much do I have? 1,600.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it seems that I have the money to buy 16 JB 5S, but nearly to 32 JB 5S, صح? Do you know the fingerprint? It's secret, you know that?
It's a secret?
Yeah, it's secret only for you. You can choose it. It's secret to open your phone.
So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with you.
تتذكر ladies and gentlemen؟ اوكي كيف راح تبدأ؟
Ladies and gentlemen.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay, it was an accident.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
تعودت؟
Sorry.
وجعك؟ طيب.
Sorry.
هل بتصير مشكلة هلا كلية؟
لا ما راح تصير مشكلة.
Sorry.
عدل. It's okay. It's okay.
ما تخبط يا أخي، أنا بعيد. بعد مني.
طيب.
ما في لعبة جديدة عندك؟
لا بنسويها الأسبوع الجاي لأن اليوم تأخرنا.
هاي لعبة جديدة نسويها خلاص.
لا لازم تسويها مع عبد الله.
لا.
كله تمام. تتذكر آخر مرة سوينا هذه؟ أوكي. تنزل أنت وتقول أوكي. أوكي. فتعمل له هيك ويقول لك أوكي. In the middle, there was a little bit of a downfall. Even for me, I didn't understand, why is this boring? Why is this not as much fun as it used to be for Fathi? He loved it last week. Why isn't he in love with it this week? Why is he not focused?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
حبا كيف تمشي؟ طلع أنا كيف أمشي، أوكي؟ أنا بسحبك، طلع أنا كيف أمشي. هيك؟
يعني أمشي هيك؟
لا أنا ماسكك، راح أمشي هيك. أنا اللي راح أدزك. مش هو اللي يسحبك.
بيجي يوم السبت؟
بيجي يوم السبت. No kid is patient. These kids are the same, but except they have 20 other things going on in their head.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Welcome to the show.
مرحبا.
I'm very impatient. So it taught me to be patient and just to slow down and enjoy every moment as it happened.
How you doing?
Very good.
Oh, wait.
It's mine.
How's it going?
Yeah?
I know. What iPad
How's it going?
iPad 3.
3?
Yeah.
Can I see the charger?
Snap.
Oh, he's gonna
Yes,
go
I'm
into
about
it.
to tell you if it's 3 or not. It's not?
How come it has this charger?
I don't know. But this iPhone 4?
Yes.
Yeah, not 5.
Okay.
I know.
So just
Yeah.
use that
Me, I'm gonna get 5S.
Oh, really? For me? Thank you,
No,
Abdullah.
for me.
Ah, okay.
Omar likes you, huh? Yeah, because I got the keys, you know?
So, let's get together. Let's get together.
This is the end song?
Together we are stronger. Together we live longer. Let's get together. Let's get together. Make a rainbow with our love.
That's nice.
Let's get together.
Does Mohamed have a bit?
He'll have a bit before it, but I haven't done that yet.
Okay,
Alright,
okay,
that's
then we
gonna
won't
be-
do it this week.
But he needs to work on his song first. Once that's perfect, we'll do
So we can have some independent time today. انت وعبد رح يكونوا الحكواتي narrators, okay? You guys are going to be the narrators, okay?
ونعمل حركة هناك.
حركة على المسرح.
First of all,
طبعا.
ladies and gentlemen, then
Yeah.
you say the colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay?
Then after that,
Ready? 1, 2, 3. If I know, will you let me in? If I sing a song, will you hear my voice? If I want to join your world, will you let me in?
I am blue. I am blue. I am blue.
Kindi, grab
I am blue.
Kindi, a chair. Grab. Kindi, where are you going?
I am blue.
I am blue.
I am blue.
And then I grab it.
Kindi.
Kindi.
The moment he was going off, I was trying to figure out why is he going off.
Kindi.
So that's when I noticed, like, oh, there's more than meets the eye.
Who's number one? Zayed is number one.
Are you number one?
No, number two.
Are you number two?
Yeah.
And I noticed at that moment, I believe, he really felt insecure and he really felt that he was lesser than safe, and his whole world was, you know, basically crumbling down.
Yeah. So let's start, okay?
Start dancing. You come first.
Stand up and come. Stand up and come.
That was really hard, how to balance their relationship.
What are you, blue? You are blue. Are you blue?
Yeah.
What are you blue?
Yeah.
Yes. I am blue too.
You're
Hold
not,
on, where you
you're
going?
not there.
Where you going? Where you going? And then we say we are blue. We
are blue.
We are
Blue.
This is Gabby. She's our new friend. She's going to be joining the team. Because we needed an orange.
Yeah.
So we looked far and wide and we found Gabby.
Gabby,
Do you guys know each other?
we live in the same building. Amazingly, we live in the same building. But we've only met each other once in the lift one day. I know. I've never seen you.
You remember your lines? Remember your dialogue?
Well, ladies and
No, not that one.
Gabby, how are you? You okay? Oh. Take it easy.
Sweetie, are you okay?
Hey, take it easy. What's going on? Wait here. Daddy's outside. Hey. Hey. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. See? Just breathe. Yeah? Would you like the piano? Hmm? Yeah.
Do you want to get something to eat? Juice. Do you want more juice?
The chances of us getting the thing together with all the kids doing everything we want them to do at the moment looks pretty, it looks impossible, mission impossible at the moment, but we've had better weeks when they've been better, so, we just hope that we can somehow understand how we can get them in that kind of a frame of mind.
I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it together. Last week, we had an awesome class, and I left feeling like on top of the world, and I had so much positivity for the project. And today, it's all out the window. It's scary.
Hello! Hi, love. Come in. Oh my gosh, look at you all dressed up. Hi.
Dad.
Dad.
Yeah. And
Dad.
yeah.
Sure.
Ice cream. Oh no, that's spoon. That's spoon.
Who's that? See. Who's that? Asha.
Usher.
Yeah. Go and say hello.
Gabby's very clever, but she lives in her own world. I think she enjoys everything around here. She just doesn't express it the same way as we do.
You're gonna eat all of this, right?
Now she's happy, but I think she'll be happier in our world, and I feel more sorry for her than I see her working hard, because that realization that there is something out there. Now she knows she doesn't talk. How must it feel not to be able to communicate?
I think he kind of wins the day for me.
Hi guys.
I guess we have somewhere to be.
Hi.
Okay, so remember the song?
Pink is the best, better than all the rest. Nikhil is pink. Are you excited to see my flavors next week?
We have our next week, yes. I am. Next week you'll have it?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna show you the fingerprint.
Okay.
What's color yellow?
I don't know who's yellow.
Usher?
Class is starting. Come on, Asher, we gotta go to class.
I think due to nervousness and not feeling comfortable in the big change going into this program, certain behaviors were much more present at the beginning. And as time went on, they were slowly removed. And they would come every now and then, and there would be tantrums, naturally. But closer to the show, there was less and less, and there was more confidence, there was more self-esteem, and they knew what they were doing. They were having fun. And they became friends. They looked out for each other.
Okay, guys, listen. Are you ready for a secret? Next time we rehearse, we're gonna be in a theater. رح نكون في مسرح.
وين أي مكان؟
رح نكون مسرح.
جامعة زايد.
To practice, so we get used to practicing in the theater. And then we're gonna perform.
Fourth time by then.
Are you excited to be in the theater? We're gonna be in a theater next week.
So guys, we're gonna show you.
أعمل زي
عمر, هي مفاتيحك. هيهم. Don't give him your keys. No. Hey. عمر, عيب هذا الكلام, عيب. ما تحط ايدك
هو باخذ مفاتيح الناس كله.
بعرف, بس عيب يحط ايده بجيب حدا.
هو هيك. احنا اصحاب عادي. عادي.
طب اذا هيك ممكن.
خلاص عمر.
So with the adults, can we try it once?
Yeah.
So the lines again.
Okay.
Everybody remember it says, hey guys.
Wasn't it really moving when you saw them interact and they started to help each other and do things? I thought that was always touched me when I started to see them interact with each other. I thought that's what it's about, you know.
So the audience, Al-Kindi was sitting like an audience. Okay, Asher, what's your favorite song to sing? Perfect. You're gonna sing Twinkle Twinkle to Gabby. Does that sound nice?
This is our last rehearsal in this space, and then we move into the theater.
Gabby!
We have a xylophone for you to play.
Wow.
It definitely feels more serious once we get into the theater, and I feel like that's going to add a whole bunch of its own challenges because they're going to be exploring a new space, and it's less contained, so they can disappear backstage and they can disappear into the aisles, and so it's going to be a challenge containing them. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, can you sing it with me again? Like a diamond in the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, Gabby, here, there's some water here. Look, look, there's some water. Right here, Gabby, look, there's some juice. Gabby, juice right here, right here. Gabby.
I'll get it.
Thank you. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Anyway.
This is my 5 minutes. Got it. Yes. Look. Hi, Abdullah. How are you? I'm good. Wait. You sure?
These are, so they'll have to translate.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and they totally, they're like, yeah.
2 3 4 صح؟
Almost 6 years. Moving into the theater is definitely a challenge. They've already stepped outside of their comfort zone to try new things. But I think that we definitely need to hold hands. Everything that they're taking in, they take it in a bit of a different way than some people may. I know they're gonna go wild. Some of them are definitely gonna go wild. And the space that they were used to, the school that they were used to, they knew the sound of it, the acoustics.
Look, I took 41 with the burst mode.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
They knew the smell, they knew what everything looked like. Actually getting through it would just be incredible. That would be an incredible achievement. To switch everything, they have to get used to that all over again.
All right, guys, are you ready to go into the theater? All the helpers, all the kids.
Do you want to try the fingerprint? Look out.
What is the fingerprint?
This fingerprint thing, you have to set up before you try.
I'm definitely worried that it's gonna make them more nervous, and I hope it doesn't go backwards. I don't want them to lose all the confidence that they've built because they've grown so much.
I just laughed because I know what's gonna happen. I can see what is gonna happen.
Oh, nice.
Because all of these slight changes in the environment can affect the behavior of the child.
Wow.
And what you've put so much effort in 3 months might have disappeared in just 1 second.
All right. Why don't we do the whole piece where you guys are on the floor sleeping? I'll let
Between Abdullah do there, ladies and gentlemen, before.
Yes, we
because
can.
we might as well just run the whole show.
That would be great. Come here. This is where you're gonna come out, okay? This is gonna be your big place here, okay?
Ladies
and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You gotta be really careful you don't go psh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good. Welcome.
Oh! You can't wear those shoes in the show, Abdullah.
I noticed during the theater rehearsal, teachers were shocked. They're like, why are they running around? They're not saying their lines. Oh my God, this is a catastrophe, you know?
Yellow is the best. All the best. Who's yellow? Who's yellow? See, I'm
Come on, Akindi. Akindi. You guys scared? Okay? It's okay. So you guys keep moving. Everybody comes back except me. And Philip will stay with Al-Kindi and Saif. You don't have a show order? Yeah, no, there needs to be a show. Mohamed, it's your turn!
If I sing me a song. You can use for now. You can use. Okay. If you know.
Wow. You walk out and say, hey guys, what are you doing? They say, we're sitting on the imaginary bench waiting for the bus. And then you say, we'll join you. And then you pretend to sit down. And then let's pretend to sit. And Ali will be with you, so you won't be alone.
Ali will be with you.
Oh, good. Good boy. We're almost done, Carl. Here we go, guys. Okay. Mohamed, let's go. Mohamed, let's go.
I have enough for you guys.
Omar!
هذا المفتاح لمين؟ مفتاح لك؟ لا. شوف يا صاحبي. أمن لك المفتاح هذا؟ لا إلك هذا المفتاح. Oh, it's Toyota.
It could be an absolute shambles.
Good. It's really good.
We have a bit of a ways to go, though.
He likes bread, so he's sharing the bread with the camera.
And do you have camels too?
No, I don't have. Al-Kindi has one been given by his uncle. شو اسمها ناقتك؟
صحيح.
The community, especially our community where I live, they're not aware about this kind of situation about autism. كنا مثلا لما كنا نتكلم عن طفلي انه عنده توحد وان مثلا فكانت العائلات اللي بجنبه يخافون من الطفل من الكندي انه مثلا يضرب اولادهم.
لا تستحين، لا تخافين من المجتمع، لا تخافين من كلام حريم. طفلك محتاج مساعدتك، طفلك انت مش طفلهم هم. اذا انت ام او الام والاب في نفس الوقت ما ساعدتوا هالطفل ما حد بيساعده.
The more you wait, thinking that it will grow out of it, you know, you're not benefiting yourself, your family, or the child.
اتعلم انا وعائلتي واعلم المجتمع اللي انا فيه ان هذا الشيء، ان هذا التوحد مش مرض الناس يعني تركض منه مثلا او انها تخجل منه، هذه شيء الله قدره وكتبه على
We weren't afraid, we weren't ashamed, we weren't embarrassed to talk about it. We wanted to know what was wrong with our kid, and when we found out something was wrong, it's like, okay, that's okay. He's still a great kid. Now what do we have to do to fix it?
It could happen to anyone, and that's what's scary.
One person in 50 is autistic, so at some point in your daily life you're going to meet somebody with autism.
Because I love Al-Kindi, I want society to learn. Himself, he cannot.
Get Paddy.
Where all the balloons start?
He just ate. Literally.
I bring my dad and my mother.
How are you? كيف حالك؟ الحمد لله.
Kindi, 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 kindi. Kindi.
In this process, I've seen El Kindi grow. You know, he becomes a little bit more independent.
Does it?
I was surprised today, Balakindi, because he came in, went around, and said hi to everyone by name.
Saif is becoming more understanding of the fact that you do not have to control everything.
What's your name? Abdullah is the coolest. Cooler than all the rest. Abdullah is cooler.
I bet he's not a color, because he would have been a lot more competitive than the rest.
Hi, Gabby.
Gotta be an enjoyable evening at the end of the day. I think that's the most important thing. You know, I feel very proud of what everybody has accomplished.
I had this moment of clarity that, oh my gosh, if I'm a teacher who's used to this and I'm excited to see this, the audience is going to have a great time as well. And I was like, this is great. We really have something here. We really have something special.
Please take a moment to think about the whole show. And if you have any questions, please ask me now, because I will not be able to answer them later. If you want to use the stage as a metaphor to life, they can go and be more active at school. They can be more active at home if we trust them enough to give them more responsibilities.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مساء الخير وأهلا وسهلا فيكم الليلة. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to tonight's show. I'm so proud to present to you We Are the Colors of the World, a musical comedy by a group of wonderful kids.
To anyone else who doesn't know Omar, they might look at him and say, oh, he's wild. But he was expressing his happiness. Because we know Omar, we saw that he was running because he was happy. And that's how he knew how to express it.
If you sing me a song,
I will hear your voice.
Each and every one of them came out of their shell on their own pace. So some of them took 5 steps, some of them are still crawling, but you see the change.
It was a really lovely show. I'm sad I'm not going to be coming back here next Saturday.
I'm blue.
I am...
You're blue, I'm blue. Great job, fantastic.
There's nothing to be fixed. God doesn't make mistakes. These kids needed encouraging. That's what was needed. And their voice needed to be heard.
An excellent day. Amazing. Thank you very much.
Are you surprised?
Yeah. I'm really happy.
I've got a little bit more in touch, funnily enough, with my emotions. I think I tend to be the kind of person who's a little bit over cerebral and not someone who is very emotional. I don't cry, for example, very often at all. I think that is a helpful thing to learn to be able to respond, emotionally to things.
What can I say? It was really great. She was so good. Now she's gonna milk it for a while.
This project made me a better person, period. And as a human being, I hope to carry that on in my personal life, in my business life, in my family life.
I was too much happy because when he wearing his jacket, he feels that he is a champion.
Do strangers often find you unkind? Do loved ones find you close and feeling, oh God, I'm answering that? Because I've just been A, banned from the staff party, and B, split up with the girlfriend. So do you find it difficult to make eye contact? Oh God. Yes. Do you tend to rely on your family, spouse, partner for all your social needs? What family, spouse or partner? Go on. There you go. So let's just forget that, shall we? So if we put these on, you can hear the music, the orchestra playing.
Orchestra.
Yeah, yeah. Great.
If I knock on your door, will you let me in? If I sing you a song, will you hear my voice? If I want to join your world, will you let me begin? If I knock on your door, will you let me in?
This is perfect. You're a recording artist. You're a studio recording artist. Fantastic. Well done.
Okay, we haven't
Good.
If I knock on your door, will you let me in? If I sing you a song, will you hear my voice? If I want to join your world, will you let me begin? If I knock on your door, will you let me in? If you knock on my door, I will let you in. If you sing me a song, I will hear your voice. If you want to join my world, I will let you begin. If you knock on my door, I will let you in. Let there be no doors to lock us in. Let us sing our song and be as one. Let us join our world. Please let it begin. When I knock on your door, please let me in.
And behavioral therapist Sharifa Yateem, who is in the film. Great, so we have a little time to have a discussion with them. I have some questions prepared, but then we'll have an opportunity for members of the audience to also ask a few questions. We have a mic on that side. So, well, what can you tell us about why this film was made?
Well, thank you for having us, firstly.
Oh, yes, and thank you for the
No,
wonderful film. It's terrific. It's so moving and
thank you.
just
We're very honored.
great experience.
Yeah, we're very honored to be here. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Pull the mics closer, please.
Oh.
And maybe they're not on. Let's see.
Hello?
Ah, there we go.
Okay. As you saw and said, the film is an initiative by Her Highness Sheikha Shamsa, who has many autism initiatives. And she came to us at Image Nation Abu Dhabi with a request saying, one of the biggest problems we have is the stigma around autism in the UAE, and how can we create some type of content to fight that? So we went away and had a think, and we thought, well, you know, a documentary is always a good method because you're dealing with real lives and real stories, and we wanted to create something, we knew we wanted to create something really positive. Because one of the main things we have in the UAE is a lot of people have shame. So we wanted to make sure we did a story where people could really get to know the kids, really celebrate the kids, and really be proud. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Sharifa, do you have anything to add to that?
I have a lot to add.
Well, go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor to be sharing this with our community that are involved with autism in the U.S. Can I just ask how many parents are there here? Awesome. I want to say, at the bottom of my heart, well done for whatever you are doing, and continue to strive for the best for your child. So I would like to take this moment to clap for them for giving them this awesome courage and support to keep going. My name is Sharifa Yateem. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. Actually, the first and only behavior analyst in the UAE. A lot of our certified behavior analysts they come from abroad, and that's what made me kind of say, why can't I get involved in this more often? And I want to share my story on how I got to know Image Nation and their project. I was actually giving a workshop for parents about challenging behaviors, and I'm sure parents here can agree with me. You have those days where they have tantrums in the community, especially in shopping malls, for example. So I was talking to parents regarding, how to work through those challenging behaviors, and Hana and Danielle were a part of my audience. And it was a coincidence, and it was an initiative that I was working with the Autism Emirates Autism Society, which is also inaugurated by Sheikha Shamsa bint Mohamed bin Zayed al Nahyan, which she also sponsored for this documentary. So she has a lot going on regarding autism in the UAE. So they came up to me I was thinking they were parents, and I was ready, answering their questions. And then they asked me, would you like to be in a documentary? I'm like, what? What documentary? About what? And they told me about this amazing initiative, and again, I was very skeptical about this. I'm like, are they trying to advocate for a specific therapy, or are they trying to, show that autism is scary and all that? And once I heard about what they're trying to do and kind of change the stigma around, individuals with autism, focus on their strengths rather than, showing those pictures of them in a corner, or, those negative pictures and, thoughts around autism. I was, so shocked, and so I was like, yes, for sure, I want to be part of this. And I'm really happy to see where this documentary have come to, and it developed wings, really, and that was so unexpected. So I'm really so thankful to be part of this growth of this documentary and awarenesses of autism, not just in the UAE, but also around the world. So yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, wonderful. Well, prior to this film, what was your perspective on autism? I guess, Hana, maybe, since you're not a professional in the autism field, what was it like coming into this project, and what did you learn about autism?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I knew a little bit about autism, but insofar that it was a condition, and I always thought of the word autonomy and alone, and that was pretty much it. That's all I knew. What I learned was everything. I mean, Sharifa's taught us all a lot and is still teaching us a lot. The most important thing I probably learned was a label means nothing. Individuals are individuals, and in fact, autism I find fascinating. It's probably one of the most fascinating things that there are. You discover more and more and more when you get to know kids with autism and their strengths and how each individual works and how we're all very individual in how we work. So I learned a lot. I think it changed a lot of my own perspective about people and about being patient and about being more understanding. So, yeah. It was
wonderful.
Yeah. What
Anything
did
to
you
add
learn?
to that?
Yeah, a lot. I learned to work with multidisciplinary team. Because in the community of autism, speaking in a perspective of a clinician, so maybe I should talk about what I do back home. My background is a consultant, and then at the New England Center for Children in Abu Dhabi, and I work directly with professionals and families to work on developing the different skills that they have difficulties in, such as social skills, life skills, academic skills, whatever it is that we can work with, as well as training families, teachers, to include kids with autism in mainstream schools. So basically everything to do with autism. I go to their homes, so it's a very individualized home-based interventions that we put together with the team including the parents. And I think that is so important because a lot of people think, right, let's take the kid to the center, let them get fixed, and then he'll come back home. So this documentary kind of reflects the importance of working as a team. Especially as clinicians, the more services there are out there, the more people think this is a competition between clinicians and professionals. I do my thing, you do your thing, let's stay separate. And this model will never work, because everyone can learn from each other's skills. I can learn from a speech and language pathologist, from an occupational therapist, and integrating principles of behavior into the teaching, where I come, where ABA, behavior analysts, come into place. And so this is also something to advocate for, not just the awareness of what it looks like, what autism looks like, but also to see how having a model of collaboration, and not that everyone does their own thing behind an office door, that's not going to be a benefit. So this is something, has learned. This was a learning experience for me, even tackling each of those different professionals. You have music teachers, you had a drama director, some things that you never thought that could be related to autism. And how could we, as a team, make it, as we called, autism friendly? It was very individualized, and even the teachers, even my way of speaking to those teachers, so that kind of changing their way of thinking, to be patient, to break down things easier, to make it more routine so that they can get used to the environment. They were concepts that were kind of difficult to grasp unless you actually work day by day with a child with autism. And as you know, a lot of them have never encountered an individual with autism. So this really reflects that anyone with the right support and guidance, or a teacher who has no support, they can get support and use their techniques to be more individualized for a child with autism. So yeah, it's more kind of the clinician background that I learned, more than the kids and what autism is, because I know all of that, but more kind of the political way of, involving other organizations, other people, different backgrounds. So yeah, that's my point of view.
Oh, great. Well, what were some of the biggest obstacles you faced in trying to pull this film together, whether it was participation of families or other perceptions maybe people had as you were trying to pull this together?
In terms of casting the kids, we spoke to, I think, about 60 children and their parents, That was a big shock because I expected that part to be very difficult, but so many parents, you realize very quickly parents of children with autism are the biggest advocates for their children in the world, and they're the biggest fighters you will ever find. So finding those families, finding a lot of families was easy. Picking those children was very difficult. That was the hardest challenge because we wanted to ensure that we were showing that the spectrum is very wide. We wanted to show, we don't mention the nationalities, but we wanted to show that this could happen to anyone. And that also the UAE is, I see these kids as ambassadors, actually, of the UAE, because it's a very diverse place. So choosing them was very difficult. But one of the biggest challenges for me personally was the edit, because if you, normally a film would focus on about 5 characters max, you can't follow 10. And I think you can see that in the program. They all gelled together and they all really came together and they bonded as a group. So there was no way I could cut anyone out in the edit. And I couldn't do that to the families anyway. So it's like, oh my goodness, how am I going to make a film with 10 kids? But it works, I think. So that was good. And then, there's a challenge with girls, because, statistically, there aren't that many girls with autism. And then culturally, we have sensitivities sometimes in the UAE where either parents don't want to show their girls or don't want to, they don't want to show that their girls have autism. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the cultural sensitivities with girls.
Yeah. So as you know, like back home, having a child with any disability, doesn't matter if it's autism or not, it's a stigma, right? So no, like such thoughts would be, for example, no, we don't want to marry to that family. Marriage is a big thing back home. So not getting married to that family. So we would like to keep it quiet, so they wouldn't have that thoughts about our family. Is also it's also a big thing there. But I think it's changing a lot. Part of my experience as well, like a lot of families, parents, fathers, even more, come to my workshops. So they are seeing each other, and some of them say, right, you're in the same company as I am, we share the same experience, and it's not that as bad as they thought it was, so those fears that they get in their head is just in their head, and once they actually speak to the community and talk to other parents that have a child on the spectrum, it's not that scary,
Mm-hmm.
And part of our advocacy of the country, doing a lot of workshops, working with governmental sectors like the Ministry of Community Development. They're working in collaboration with the New England Center for Children and other different foundations and organizations to train parents how to, work through the challenges, teach their child different skills. Getting that opportunity of support system is really, it's a big change. And for, speaking from my experience as in Marathi, that have seen this changes even within those 5 years. You wouldn't have read or heard or saw a tabloid or an advertisement about autism. But now, if you come back home in the month of autism, you see those huge, tabloids and advertisements and bullet boards, and our biggest buildings and the highest buildings are lit blue. Everyone talks about it, so it's so different. And even schools are now working through training teachers. I'm working with the community of development working through giving workshops for high school, grade level students on autism, and putting a project, how can you, as part of the school projects, to be advocates for autism in your country. So we're not just building awareness of what autism is, but also leaders and to be advocates for, special needs, specifically autism.
May I ask a question of the three of you?
Yeah.
My name is John Robeson. I'm a member of the Autism Committee here at NIH. I would first of all like to thank you for bringing your film to America and for your efforts in making it. I have had the privilege of serving on World Health Organization autism committees, and I have seen many of the things that you talked about firsthand in other countries. But for many people, I think in America, we have the idea that autism is this maybe unique thing here, or it doesn't exist elsewhere. And of course, your film showed that autistic people look the same in Dubai that we look there. I myself am an autistic adult, and I have an autistic son. And one thing I was struck by is that you took great care in your film to show how the autistic students, the autistic young people that were the core of your film, were addressing their various communication challenges. You talked about how they would learn to time their comedic delivery. You showed us how some autistic kids are talking with letter boards and they're communicating in other ways. So you showed us many examples of communication in those young people. And I thought that was really good. And I wondered, what are your thoughts about having the voices of those autistic people actually in the film? Because even as you showed the autistic people overcoming communication challenges, the narration was primarily you and others talking about autistic people. And I wondered what your thinking was with respect to that. That's something that in the last maybe 5 or 10 years in the United States, we have a sort of a movement among autistic people where we speak in our own voices. Mm-hmm. Is that something that is perhaps just beginning in your country? And where do you think of that as filmmakers, and where do you think that's going in your country?
Okay, thank you. I think maybe you're right. So there was no conscious decision about who to narrate the film. What was conscious was that we wanted to definitely, because this is, we probably don't have as much awareness about autism in the UAE as much as you do here in America. So one of the missions of the film was to educate people on autism. So signs of autism, getting early therapy, highlighting what communication issues are there, what types of therapies are there, early intervention, and there were certain messages that we definitely wanted to put across. And so that was most probably best put across by people like Sharifa and some of the instructors. Also, one of the things we wanted to combat was to ensure the message that there is no shame of being a parent with a child with autism. So we knew we wanted to ensure that we had parents from lots of different backgrounds, including Emirati, including Western backgrounds, including other Arab backgrounds, to make sure that they all said the same message. So there were certain things that we definitely did want the adults to put across. Having said that, I do think that the children come across very well. I think the film showcases their personalities very well, and I like to think that their voices are heard to a certain extent. I think you see their their strengths and their personalities and their senses of humor in the film. And for me, that was very important because I didn't want the film to be, this is a film about autism. I wanted it to be about, this is a film about Fethi, this is a film about Saif, this is a film about Carl, Kindi, and all the kids individually. You should come away feeling that I know these kids, not I know about autism, but I know who these kids are. But
yeah, and speaking about the community, what we have there about hearing their voices. The UAE has been working on and have been developing a lot of initiatives and organizations for vocational centers and where they build their skills as entrepreneurs and showing their work. If it was kind of building things, selling things. So, back home, there's a lot of myths about autism, and one of them is that they think that they don't understand what's going on, or if we spoke about that individual, they won't understand. And I'm talking this as my personal experience because I work with the families, and the families tend to talk negatively about the child. And I'm like, okay, can we do this in private and talk about his challenges so that we can overcome that, but also then include if that child has the ability to be sitting in our meetings, we'll share with what is the strategies. If it was something like, for example, Abdullah, that are high high function in the spectrum, that we will explain to him what the plan is, etc. But more and more of these initiatives are growing so that they can give voice to them, and break that myth of that, that they have their individual differences and etc. Yeah.
Perhaps one day then you'll be able to make a sequel to this film.
Yeah.
And the autistic people will tell the stories themselves. I think that with what I just heard from you, I would like to say that I saw that you showed different cultures, you showed different faiths, you showed Islam, you showed the Mormon church, and I liked the peace and the tranquility in the images that you showed of the mosque. I thought that, I liked that. I think that you said something that was important. You said that parents feel a lot of shame in your country about autism, and parents here have felt the same thing. But what I would ask you to take back when you go home is the idea that we autistic people hear these things said about us, and if you think parents feel ashamed, let me assure you, we feel worse. And I think that when you show how the young people who are the stars of your film can communicate in different ways, not just by speaking, I think that those people could play a much greater role in the telling of their story, and in doing so, they would make their parents proud and they would make themselves empowered. And I think that you folks have done a really great thing going where you went. That's something, it's a new thing in your country, and it's really good. I'm really for building this awareness all over the world. We talk about building acceptance in America, but I know that there's a lot of ignorance, and you're doing a good thing. I just would say, please think about giving us autistic people the primary voice in films about autism.
Absolutely. No, thank you. That's a really great point. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was very, very beautiful. My name is Dina Gasner, and I'm also an autistic adult. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a social worker, and a PhD student at 58 years old. And I'm here today to tell you that I agree with my colleague here dramatically. I would just In my research as a social work candidate, one of the things we're learning is how to be present in our product and in our relationships and in our identities. And as I looked at the film, the one thing that broke my heart was that the one adult you have in the film that was exploring his identity was doing it quietly, alone, just with you and the camera. And that isolation is exactly what we need to fight. And so I just would hope that as an artist you would be present in that reality, that that's what you portrayed in this film about autistic adults. I'd also ask you to keep in mind that studies throughout the world now are showing that 4-to-1 ratio is not correct. Mm-hmm. We're finding statistics that show 2-to-1 ratios, 1-on-1 ratios, depending on how you sample the population in regard to gender bias in women with autism. Mm-hmm. And I'm very gravely concerned that what has happened, and I kind of have to take credit for our country doing this, the CDC evaluated autism in children age 8. And unless they present like Gabby, most girls with autism will never be identified before the age of 8. In fact, they won't be identified, in my case, until 38 years old, and until they have their own child who has autism. My son was diagnosed at 3. So I would just keep that in mind, because for a woman with autism that deals with executive function issues and planning and time management issues, parenting and running a household, particularly in a country like yours where house and home and family is the reflection of the family, it's very, very important that we're sensitized to the needs of autistic women. Thank you very much. It was a beautiful product. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'd like to apologize to everyone for the stats in the film because, number one, our film was made in 2014, so I think stats have changed. But also, I'm aware that some of them are, they came from the parents, not the practitioners. So it wasn't Sharifa. I'm just going to say that. In regard to Rob's story, I just want to thank you for that comment, because I didn't think, honestly, about that he was hidden. Creatively, I actually pushed Rob for that angle in the film, because Rob really genuinely went on a journey with this whole experience. I remember him saying to me a lot at the beginning of the project, going, I really don't believe in autism. He was totally rejecting the whole concept of labeling. He didn't believe the condition existed. And he went on a journey as he got to know the kids that he really related a lot to a lot of the things that they were experiencing. And so it was me who kept pushing him, saying, Rob, and he would give me narratives of his life, and I was like, okay, hang on a minute. Did you ever consider getting diagnosed, Rob? And he, by the end of the project, said yes. So that scene was more of a conversation between me and him that had been happening throughout the 3-month project. So hence why it was a private scene, and it was also a funny. It was supposed to be a funny scene. He's still in 2 minds, to be honest, about getting officially diagnosed. Partly because, and I shouldn't speak for him, but I'll say from what I know, but partly because I think he feels that, you know what, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm happy with where I'm at, and he's just in that place where he's not sure. So no pressure on him from me. I remember talking to you about Rob. Yeah. And asking, what do you think? And you said, I remember you saying clearly, there could be a billion things, and, to go and investigate. That's,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
John and I would love to be his friend.
He's great. He's hilarious. Yeah.
Because autism is new, and a lot of the new generation, so it's a lot of early intervention that they're focusing on in the UAE.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's not, autism is not as like well known as in the US, and you have generations and generations like what we have in the audience, you know, and if parents, I know a lot of them, know an adult that is married and has a PhD and all of that, you know, we don't see that because all our autism is diagnosed early, and it's because of the awarenesses. You know, we don't have statistics yet, and those that are on the spectrum that are adults may or may not have been diagnosed, because at that time at that time it wasn't very there's no awarenesses for that. But I think that is important to have individuals on the spectrum, even if they were internationally advocates internationally. It would be interesting to have them coming on abroad in our country and meeting those families that have kids that are yet to be diagnosed, to talk about. Because a lot of questions that come to me is, can my child get married one day? Can he have a job? Can he, all of these questions. And I haven't met I've met all of the adults that have an awesome career when I visit the US, to be honest, and seeing those awesome advocates and that are on the spectrum, that have a family, that are married, these are awesome examples, and I wish I can take you guys with me to show yes, right? So that, that actually, I think that is what is needed for the families to hear. Because working with families, it's, as you can see in the movie, some of the teachers are like, oh my God, this is not going to go anywhere. This is impossible. And we're always telling the parents, learning is not a straight line ascending. It's a zigzag line ascending, and it's okay if one day is not the best day. And it's okay today, I'm not in the mood to learn.
And then Gabby sings.
And Gabby sings.
Yeah, she did it. Yeah.
And also to learn that it's not a sickness. These myths we're still combating. They think that some families think that you can actually use fat treatments, like let him drink something or give him this I don't know, so many things. I don't want to mention them. But they think that it could be fixed like that, and he'll be normal, and because our image, if we want to be perfect, we want to be the best, and it's part of the culture. So that kind of thinking that we don't always have to be the same, we don't always have to be perfect. We're very individualized, and that kind of thinking is new, So that this film shows, even if each of the kids were different in their own ways, they achieved what we wanted the goal to be achieved, and they can learn, and I think that's important for many different organizations that are scared to have such opportunities. And now we're working on telling organizations or working on organizations to open, employment for individuals on the spectrum, and that is not scary. They can actually learn, and they can be better than any other individual. So that is something that we're working through. There's so many organizations that are opening for vocational skills, but it's yet to be more kind of on the mainstream of organizations. So there's so much work to be done, as in any other country, but I think we're going in the right direction. Families are more and more, accepting, and I think this film has made a lot of change within not just with the culture, but also reflecting what our country's image is about: acceptance, tolerance, and all that important skills to have.
Terrific. It looks like we have more questions, so
I think he was first.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I want to start by saying thank you so much for this film. It's beautiful. One thing that I really, I should tell you, I'm the father of a 19-year-old autistic son who also has recently got a dual diagnosis of bipolar as well. And I thought that it was wonderful that the children in your film showed the wide diversity and spectrum of autism. That because one of my favorite phrases is, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And I want to ask you, because you mentioned how you decided you wanted to do a documentary. How did you come to decide on the idea of having 10 autistic children perform in a musical? That's something that, as a father of an autistic individual, I would never, ever even think to do that. It's amazing, and the result is beautiful. And what it reminds me is that challenging them to do things that they've never done before brings amazing results. And asking them to do something that we think is beyond their capability, sometimes they surprise us in ways that we never would have imagined. I share the same faith as Asher's parents. I'm Mormon. And about a year ago, our congregation had a young men program. So all of the speakers were from the young men, like 12 to 18. And so I said, I think my son can do something. And usually the talks are like, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something. And I said, it's not going to be long, but I started out thinking it would be like 2 sentences he'd stand up there and say. But it turned out that every time I drafted it and I'd show him and he'd read it, he'd read it really easily. And I asked him, do you want to say more? He'd say yes, because he always does this when he makes a affirmative yes. And so we went and we ended up doing about 10 sentences, and he spoke for about 1.5 minutes, and it was really amazing. And I had so many people in our congregation come up to me and say, I've never heard him speak before. And so it just reaffirms to me what you guys showed in the film, that challenging them to do things that they've never done before is amazing. So how did you decide on the idea of the musical?
Well done to your son.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, the idea is it actually it's been done before. The idea, in terms of when you do, and a lot of documentaries do this, when you create a performance and building up to a performance or building up to something, once you implement that idea, you have a natural story arc that's already implemented. So with documentary, you're in a world where you have absolutely, no idea what could happen. But if you implement something like that, you know that there's going to be challenges, and you know that there's hopefully going to be a victory or hopefully going to be a disaster. One way or the other, it's going to be great to filmmaking. So so that was the main reason. But just relating to what you said, what our theatre director, Mohamed, he works with theatre and with a lot of kids who not just have autism but Down syndrome, and he comes from that background. And he said, 10 kids with autism, are you kidding? It's never going to work. And, if you... Other kids, okay, but autism, no way, this is never going to work. And it's like, well, actually, it can work. And it did work. So he was wrong. And I mean, I think it surprised him. It surprised all the parents that their kids were so great on stage. It surprised all the teachers that the kids were so great on stage, because they really, the fact that they pulled it together in the end was a miracle. And it was a testament to them. They realized, this is the show and my parents are watching me, and I have to do well. So, and so it was a really, it was a fantastic experience. And I think really, most of all, we spoke about this before, the best thing about it is that it also gave the parents an opportunity to see their kids perform. And I don't know about here, but in the UAE, kids with autism don't get the same opportunities as, say, another child who's going to the school play or playing band or et cetera, et cetera. Kids with autism and parents don't have those same opportunities. So it was a fantastic thing for them to have that show, and for the kids as well. Yeah, so it was good.
Yeah, and I also want to add, it's a miracle by hard work. So, you know, by enlightening the families and the teachers that you simply need to repeat the same thing over and over again until he gets it and feel comfortable with what he's supposed to say and what to do during those scenes, and also adding colors for each so that they can connect where they're going to stand as a routine way, so that we added that part of the directory, you know, and also there's some things that were difficult for a lot of the individuals with autism in making this film. So, so for example, pretending and creativity and imagination is a challenge. So, so they had to use imitation as a way to teach them the concept, you know, and as well as the comedian teacher. He never worked with individuals with autism, and he thought that would be funny for individual with autism, but you know, Fethi was like, okay, I'm just going to copy whatever you're doing. You know, this is not really funny for me. You know, so, you know, and that concept, making sure that the teachers understood that, helped them with their teaching, and it made it more and more easier for a lot of the teachers to understand. So it was a collaborative work. But yeah, it was great to see those families, how proud they were, you know, and it gave them hope, and saying that, yeah, my kid can do whatever they can with good support, you know. And the musical idea came up with the team. They thought it was impossible. Parents thought that was impossible, and I was like, no, they can do it. Why not? You know, give them time, give them, you know, time to practice at home, at school, you know, and they'll perfect it. And I was saying that in the documentary. I was like, you'll see, they can do it if you give them the good support. So yeah, it's. I hope that this message can be taken home with you guys. That if you're a parent with a child with autism or not, that, you know, at the beginning they might find it challenging, just like as you saw it in the first day. It was chaotic. They were all over the place. Parents, they were anxious to let go of their child in a new setting, you know, and that was a challenge as well. So, so that was also part of the beauty of this movie, is that it just doesn't only reflects on the kids, but also on the parents, on the teachers, on everyone that's collaborating with the child and working with the child face to face. Yeah, and I'm hoping to see more documentaries coming out of this one.
Wonderful. We have 2 more questions up here in the audience, and then we'll be wrapping up.
I have 2 comments and one question. First of all, I really appreciated the depiction of the families, how autism affects the entire family. You did that quite well. I think a lot of times people who have disability, or people who are looking at that situation, do not realize how it's not just one person who's impacted. Second, Sharifa, you mentioned several times about stigma, about misinformation, lack of awareness. Before I retired from the government, I was very involved with attitude change and behavior change, and there are probably at least 12 different federal agencies in the health area that use entertainment education, going to New York or Hollywood or Mexico City to brief writers and producers about a whole range of issues. In fact, soap operas are a huge public health force in the third world and in South America and in Asia. And this movie would be great for helping in that area. But my question is, how are you going to promote this in other areas of the Middle East or other parts of the country, other parts of the world, where there is this kind of stigma?
That's a good question. We're very lucky that, and this sounds terrible, but I really didn't expect it. The film has had created its own path in terms of where to go. So we made it with a focus of battling a stigma in the UAE, and from it, and with all the documentaries we do, Image Nation, we always have some type of a social action campaign because we do cause-driven films. So with this film, we developed a toolkit that is an educational toolkit, so the DVD can be spread across schools and universities. We recently got, maybe you can talk a little bit about it. We recently got contacted by the Ministry of Community Development, who saw the film and wanted to develop a Emirates-wide campaign. Sharifa will tell you a little bit about that. But with that campaign, we also have created short films from the movie explaining to people what autism is and what living with autism is. And these short films are now across the cinemas in the UAE for April. We have had amazing support by the UAE Embassy, and the film's been taken around the world. Sharif has been a great ambassador, and it's been to France, to Berlin, it's come to the States. Thank you for you guys for having us. And so everywhere we screen it, we seem to get a request to go elsewhere. And so the momentum is not over. So for us, the momentum is keep moving. For us, our international presence helps us with our Middle Eastern presence as well. You know, the more promotion that the film gets, the more it gives us power back home to use it as an advocacy tool. But maybe you can talk about the campaign you're doing.
Yeah. So there's so many interests came out from this documentary, and I think this is what's great about this documentary. It triggers other organizations to do something, you know. So one of them was the collaboration with the Ministry of Community Development, in which they're working. Quick background about the UAE, or United Arab Emirates. We're composed of seven different emirates. And each of the emirates have their own schools, regulations, and so not all of the emirates have the opportunity to get, you know, workshops or lectures about autism, because a lot of people that get jobs are in the capital or in Dubai, Abu Dhabi or Dubai, because they are the most popular ones. But we have many different emirates: Fujairah, Qaywin, Sharjah. And some of you guys might, this is the first time to hear about them. So we're working with the community development to showcase this, to screen this documentary in schools. You know, so we're educating teachers and high school students about autism. And we're working on how can they be advocates and leaders in, you know, advocating for autism in the community. So we're not just tackling, sit in a lecture room and see the screening and talk about it, but we're gonna actually work on hands-on projects of how can they be as leaders, as young leaders, and to tackle the new generation coming abroad that are gonna be leaders of the country, because we're only, 43 years old? So we're still young, and we're depending on our new generations. So I think that's an amazing head that they're going to. we're not just educating this generation, but we're educating the next 10 years from now. And I can see a huge, a huge bright future for the country in relation to acceptance, supporting individuals with autism. And that is one of the projects. Another project I was approached to was Sesame Street. As we all know, they have a character that's on the spectrum, but also we have the Arabic version. So that is something that they're working on, to also have little episodes in Arabic, to make it child friendly, so everyone can understand it. So these are the things, and we also have more interest in different Middle East countries such as Kuwait, Jordan, and I think this, because it has subtitles as well, and actual Middle Eastern children are in this documentary, it makes everyone connected. And I think that's what's lovely about the documentary. It connects not just between the Middle East, but also worldwide, that we're all in the same boat. No matter what the politics say, we're all in the same boat, with autism.
Well, speaking of worldwide, I think it's appropriate we can end with our last question, and then I'll close. And for the last questioner, we'll have a few minutes, so you might be able to ask your question personally. But I'd like to welcome Mike Lake from Canada, who is here to give the last question.
Can I just, I actually wasn't even going to ask a question. I was going to make a comment because there was one more person that was actually waiting to ask a question. So I'm going to let her ask a question in a second. I just wanted to comment by thanking you so much. Now, I'm a parent of a 21-year-old with autism who is nonverbal, and in many ways probably like a 3 or 4-year-old in a lot of the ways that he is. Just an unbelievable kid. His name is Jaden. And what I loved about what you did a million things that I loved, and I could ask a million questions. But I love that you showed the range, because it is very difficult, as was mentioned. Every person with autism is as unique as every other person in this room is unique, with unique challenges and unique abilities. And I loved the fact that you reflected what I see as a full range of autism. Jaden can't talk. He's nonverbal, and even when he talks with his computer or writes, it's pretty much in nouns, and it's usually based on what it is that he wants, cookie or Sprite or something like that. And so to be able to explain what autism is like for him or what his challenges are, he needs me to be able to do that for him, in a sense, and the parents or the people that love him to be able to help him with that. And I think you articulated that absolutely beautifully. And I love the fact that when you were showing the parents talking about their kids, you didn't just show them talking about all of the good things, because there are also challenges. I love the way that you showed that they love their kids. They articulated, you let them articulate what some of the challenges are. You showed some of the angst and some of those moments that we all have where you just kind of go, oh my gosh, like when Jaden was 9 and reached over the shoulder of a girl in front of him at a hockey game and grabbed the ice cream off the top of her cone and started eating it out of his hand like you'd eat a snowball. I'm from Canada, so maybe that doesn't relate as much down here, but I thought it was absolutely incredible, and I'll just let my comment sit there because I know time is short, and I know there's one more question. So thank you so much for an incredible work. So
thank you.
Terrific. And now our last question.
Okay, thank you, sir, and thank you to you both for being here and sharing everything. And this film, it's very inspiring to see your dedication. Really, my comment/question is about, it's been brought up that people with autism present differently, right? And when you think about signs and symptoms and being able to see someone and know, it doesn't, in my experience, even with working with children with special needs, including those with autism, you don't always know. But what I was encouraged by watching this film is that even learning to be more inclusive of everyone, particularly those in marginalized groups, right, including people with autism, you learn to be better person to everyone. And that was brought up by people in the film, and that's really inspiring. And so that's why I'm here, is to learn more about that. And the kind of segues into my question, which is actually where the title of the film came from, and if that was somehow connected to that concept. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The title, As One, is comes as it's about inclusivity. So as one community, it's a very simple title, but I hope for one that works. The concept works in Arabic and in English. So, but yeah, the idea of inclusivity, was our main goal of the film, and I think hopefully we did that with the community that was built in the film. Yeah.
Yeah, and the name in Arabic is كلنا معا, which means, if you literally translate it, it means we're all together in one hand, but it's interesting that we've shown some talents. Mohamed, he actually has his own soundtrack. It's on iTunes.
Yes, he does.
You can actually purchase it. It's an awesome, positive song. His voice is so soothing. I like to hear it while I'm driving to my next client or my next family. Yeah, it gives me that power. But yeah, As One, it's really, I mean, I wasn't part of the title, but when they came up with it, I'm like, yes, it actually, it gives a good summary of what, being on the spectrum, and, it reflects that we're all together. It's not just individual, it's everyone that's working, it's everyone in the community. And so just for those, a message for those that they think that, we don't have a child with autism in our family, so it's not my problem. We have people that are like that. So this reflects that, even if you are not affected by autism, or you have someone or touched by autism, does not mean you don't have a role in supporting them. So I think this documentary and the title shows that, we're all together. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here, coming all the way to the U.S. to share this with us. And it's just such an uplifting and inspirational film. And I think that everyone probably took home several messages from this. We really, really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. And thank you to our audience for tuning into the webcast and being here in person. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great questions. Wow.
So thank you.
Thank you.